on the gridiron or courtside, you know what time it is. It's
Sports plus life. Sports plus life.
ringside or front court or field pass, we ballin' no. Knuckle up or buckle up, I tell it like it is when I'm on my show. Home run, slam dunk, knockout, or gossip dough.
Sports plus life.
Yeah.
Sports plus life.
Yo, 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 yo! What's up? What's really good, my people? It's your boy, Brandon Brevon Townsend. This here's another episode of Sports Plus Life, New Year's edition, baby. You already know what's going down today. Yeah. So guess what? Turn it off, turn it off, turn it all the way off. 2021. Oh, man. Allow me to reintroduce myself. My name is Brandon Brevon Towns. This here is Sports Plus Life, that there's sports podcast where we talk about all of the necessary hot topics that need to be discussed in the world of sports and in life as well. And first of all, before I go any further, let me say Happy New Year. Happy New Year to everybody out there in YouTube land or iTunes land or whatever. Happy New Year, wherever you are. Happy 2021. But boy, 2021 has already got some shit with it. Already got some stuff with it. Today, and now today, this might not be uploaded till later on, late this evening. But it is Wednesday, January 6th, 2021. And we have already got us some nonsense going on today in Washington, D.C. I can't even start off with sports. This is crazy. I mean, apparently today, was, I guess, supposed to be the day with the Senate, I guess, recognizing, now the president-elect Joe Biden, who is supposed to be sworn into office, I believe, in 13 days. And Donald Trump, 45, is still trying to get it blocked and votes recounted. The votes have been recounted like 3 times. You lost. So, and apparently Vice President Pence said that he had no plans to block anything in regards to not, of disregarding Joe Biden from being the president. Of basically, he's in a nutshell, it sounds like Pence is saying, look, all right, you know what? We lost. It is what it is. But here come them old MAGA people. I mean, this is crazy. I mean, that noise that you just heard was basically riots going on Capitol Hill, Trump supporters knocking down the gates and fighting with federal police officers. Let's hear this again. You're supposed to be with us, police. MAGA, MAGA, MAGA. Trump for life. You're supposed to be with us, USA. Fuck all of these. Well, you know who. I mean, it's not funny. It's sad because this happened around 1:30 in the afternoon. I know I was in Fredericksburg at the time, but now it's like all hell done broke loose, where the vice president had to be taken away. Of course, 045 is nowhere in sight, and it's like crazy. Somebody done got shot. I'm not sure if anybody got killed. It's just crazy. Well, I tell you what, you can tell this is 2021 because in 2020, it was black people and people who quote unquote support black people who are out there fighting the police. And here's the crazy thing about it. The notion of Trump supporters fighting the police kind of makes me chuckle. I'm not even going to lie. It does, because imagine if this was black people out there storming Capitol Hill. Half of the people who would do the reporting would consider it protesters. There would be another half who would just outright say terrorists. And think about how many bullets would be flying up and down our face and our ass. I mean, I'm being so serious with you, bruh. And these Trump supporters, do they actually think that they're doing the country a service by acting like this?
What's wrong with you?
I mean, for real.
What's wrong with y'all?
Tell him, Potter.
You niggas are crazy.
I mean, for real. I'm being serious. And with that being said, I'm going to say Happy New Year to my bro, friend of the show, my man Tony. And I told him before, I'm bringing him on here that I haven't even started with sports yet. I haven't done my Let's Get To It, my basketball buzzer, nothing, because he's one of the most knowledgeable people I know, not just in sports, but in political sense as well. Happy New Year, brother.
Same to you.
Make some sense of this for me. Let it out.
So 4 years ago, individuals named Ted Cruz, Lindsey Graham, Mitch McConnell, they had a lot of opinions about one Donald J. Trump. Basically, in a nutshell, they called him a trash-ass individual. He was a racist, he was a sexist, a xenophobe, anything that can come to mind. Once he won that election, their political aspirations caused them to basically become his cuckold for 4 years. Anything that he did, they were okay with it. You want to fuck my wife? Okay, fine. I don't know if I can say that, but...
Yes, you can. Anything you say, anything you want.
Anything he did, they had an excuse for. Anything he said, they had an excuse for. Malcolm said, the chickens are going to come home to roost.
Mm-hmm.
They abided this fool, this orange idiot, and allowed him to amass this mob of QAnon, tinfoil hat wearing, orange Kool-Aid drinking cultists. Because that's what it is. It's a cult.
Yeah.
It's a cult at this point. They allowed him to amass this. This is why Bill Barr got out early, because he probably saw this mess coming. He saw this mess coming.
Very true.
Bill Barr was as complicit as the rest of them, but he got out early so that his name wouldn't even come up in it. I'm not involved anymore. The events of today, the Republicans that were grandstanding, objecting to something that they knew was going to get passed irregardless. We're not having a 10-day audit. It's been recount, signature audits, 60-plus cases, and ran through this course all the way up to the Supreme Court with 3 Trump appointees, 6 conservative judges, and 3 of them Trump appointed, and all of them said, hell no, get the ass out with that. It show us some proof. Well, we got stacks of affidavits. Affidavits aren't evidence. They're just pieces of paper, and they're only as good as the people that signed them. That's why when they went to these courts, they never actually had physical witness, because ain't nobody trying to get charged with perjury.
That's right.
Mr. Giuliani, are you claiming fraud? Well, no, Your Honor, we're just claiming irregularities. Meanwhile, the orange idiot is on the boob tube screaming, fraud, 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 fraud. There's a whole lot of unstable people here in this country. And if you keep saying something long enough, they'll believe it, especially if they want to believe it.
Right.
They saw this coming. Harley, Cruz, these other people, these other 10 that are right along with them that planned on objecting, my opinion, they all need to be expelled from Congress. They all need to be expelled.
And what were their names again?
Ted Cruz and Josh Hawley were the ringleaders. Ted Cruz is the dude that was running against Trump, one of the people that was running against Trump. And during the campaign, not only did Trump say his wife looked like a man, literally, just said, your wife looked like a man. And then they turned around and said that his father was an accessory for JFK's assassination.
Oh, wow. I do remember that, yeah. Oh, wow. That's right. That's like major shots fired. That's like...
But yet here you are today, trying to defend this idiot with some nonsensical stuff. Why? Because, see, they're playing a political game. They know that Trump won't run in 2024 because he'll be a convicted felon. Let me repeat that. Donald Trump will be a convicted felon by 2024. State of New York, Letitia James, Southern District is not playing, and Manhattan, they're not playing. They're coming after him financial crimes, and at the end of the day, he's either going to plead guilty under threat of potential jail or to protect his children going to jail. There's nothing in the law says you can't send a president's child to jail, and they have the paper trail. That's as soon as the Supreme Court said you can have his taxes, it was a wrap. They're just waiting. Now, he'll never see the inside of a jail cell, so that never would be their intent anyway.
I didn't think so.
But what they won by convicting him or getting to plead guilty, you ensure he's never able to run for public office again. And then by leaving certain charges just hanging out there, you can say that Donald J. Trump behind closed doors, and we know that the FBI and the powers that be will do this to people because they did it to Nixon, they did it to Spiro Agnew. Behind closed doors will tell them, look, hey, check this out, right? We got you know we got you. Now, you got a choice. You can take this felony charge, take your ass down at Mar-a-Lago and golf and host a reality show or something. Or you can try to stay on Twitter and stay on TV and keep trying to tear down this country. And guess what? We're going to tell you in the red, so either that or Felice Johnson going to tell you one because you're going to be in jail.
Woo!
And that's it. And there's nothing else. And that's what's going to end up happening. But Cruz and people like that, they know that's going to end up the path that's going to end up happening. And so they're trying, his base, his cult got to go to somebody.
And that's exactly what it is. It's a damn cult. Because what happened today made no sense whatsoever. None.
So the question becomes, if he's out of the picture, who does this cult go to? Well, somebody that basically adopted the same ideals and tried to act like him and yada, 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 because they need a leader. So that's what all this grandstanding and objecting is about. And I don't think they expected this to happen, but if they were paying attention, they knew it would happen. My disdain is that law enforcement. Law, is that easy to get up in the Capitol?
Right, exactly. Exactly.
It's not that easy to get up in the Capitol.
No, it's not.
It's only that easy when they show restraint because the color of the people attempting to break into the Capitol.
Oh, I said that. I said that before we got on the phone. I said, imagine if these people were predominantly black. I said maybe half of the people who would be doing the reporting would call them protesters, but there would be another half, if not majority, who would outright say terrorist. And think about how many bullets would have been flying then. Whoo! Man, please.
Oh, well, we know this.
Man, please.
We know this. But they try to handle them with kid gloves. You're going to be gentle. Just let them run everywhere. And, I mean, really.
Yeah.
This is what we're going to do.
Yeah.
I literally watching the tape of them inside the thing, and the police, Capitol Police, inside the Capitol building, they were giving ground. Letting the people run. You got a gun on your head. Why are you giving ground?
Right, exactly. I mean,
more importantly, today is important. Today is important because one of the very first things that's going to happen because of Georgia's result, Georgia.
They came through.
Because of Georgia's result, because of what happened there, one of the very first, and I promise you, this will happen, D.C. will become a state.
You think so?
Adding 2 senators, yep, D.C. will become a state because of this. On that law enforcement tip, it may or may not have crossed your mind. The last couple days, knowing that rally was going to take place, you heard the mayor of D.C., saying the National Guard is on call.
Yep.
And all of that. And she seemingly was prepared for any eventuality. Why did the National Guard take forever and a day to get there? Well, because the administration that sits in Washington, D.C., overruled her and took their good sweet time. And notice when the National Guard, the president has authorized the use of the National Guard. So you waiting on the same fool that instigated this mess to make the call to send the National Guard in.
I told my wife that this was planned.
If was a state, the National Guard would have already been there and already prepared and waiting for the mayor to say, surround the Capitol.
I get it. Yeah, that makes perfect sense. I told my wife that this was planned.
Excuse me, not the mayor, but
The governor, the governor of the state.
District of Columbia.
Yeah.
Would have said, surround the Capitol. Yep.
So you think they're gonna make D.C. the 51st state?
I think they should. There's more people in D.C. than in Rhode Island. The Rhode Island gets electoral votes. Why wouldn't D.C.?
That's right.
Well, I'll tell you one reason why they wouldn't want D.C. because D.C. is predominantly black.
Yep.
And which means those are 2 Democratic seats in Congress automatically in the Senate. They're always going to be Democratic, which plays with the numbers. I mean, they've said it openly. If blue states, everybody come out and vote, there'll never be another Republican president. So they have to rely on suppression, and one of those ways to suppress is, we can't let D.C. be. We can't. Puerto Rico, no. We got to keep them as a territory. We can't
Because I used to hear about that all the time. They trying whether or not the decision to make Puerto Rico a state.
Mm-hmm. Guam. It's a whole lot of places that are territories that could be states, but if they do, they're going to be Democratic.
Mm-hmm.
That's the reason why they try to keep them as territories. But because of blue across the board in all 3 branches of power, they have that opportunity, and they don't need it. Man, I don't care what Puerto Rico say. We like our independence and this. They look, either you're going to be a state or you're not going to be nothing at this point, because we ain't playing this. I'm a territory. You want our help when natural disasters hit, but you don't want to play ball with the bigger picture.
Right.
So, Hawaii is awfully independent. They're a state. They kind of maintain their independence.
Same thing with Alaska.
Exactly. So, hey, Puerto Rico, get on board. I know D.C. is on board because they've been asking for it.
Oh boy, man. That makes perfect sense, especially with what happened today and given the events of Georgia. I mean, what a last 24 hours. I'm serious. Between Georgia and then what happened at the Capitol Building, it's like a perfect setup for D.C. to become a state, a blue state.
They didn't actually know. That's the crazy thing. They were so busy following their Mango Mussolini up there and, their code leader, that most of them probably weren't aware that Ossoff won. They knew Loeffler lost, but they probably were unaware. They probably got the news as they were, tearing stuff up that Ossoff, because they didn't announce it until this afternoon that Ossoff won. So, they definitely were fired up after that. But my question to any one of them, and I've been on Facebook and I've messaged and I asked them the same question. So what's your end game? Where do you think this is all going? Because at some point, the patience will wear thin, and it won't matter what color most of y'all are. Burning buildings, rioting in the streets of Minneapolis and all that, that's one thing. Storming federal buildings in the nation's capital is insurrection and sedition. At some point, it's going to come to an end, and what do you think is going to happen? Your shirt going to be matching the hat you wearing.
I was going to say, there's going to be some people, it's going to be people stretched out. It's going to look like it's going to be stretched out. It's going to be an ugly scene. I think one person.
It may happen sooner than you think because I believe by Pelosi strong-arming and saying we having this vote, we gonna have these things tonight. We gonna go forward. I believe there's enough. It doesn't take a super majority. There's enough people. Actually, 2 things can happen. Pence himself, if he can convince that cabinet, they can remove Trump.
Isn't he supposed to be out in like 13 days?
Yeah, but you can't leave him there for 13 more days. It's obvious that him staying there for 13 more days is a detriment. You can't leave him there.
You ain't lying.
They can impeach him, and impeaching him, people might say, well, he got 13 more days. Why would you impeach him? Well, if you impeach him and successfully convict him, then he can't run for public office again either. And right now, I think that they would have enough support they definitely got the Democratic support, but they would have enough Republican support.
I think
a lot of the people like Romney and Susan Collins and even Corman in Texas,
I think so.
Pennsylvania, they not with this.
No, I know.
Even Rand Paul, that was the crazy one. Rand Paul said he's not going to vote for not certifying. He's like, this is our election process. If you had beef with it, you should have beefed with the courts before the election. Not
Right.
wait until afterwards and try to expect Congress to overturn it.
Right. I mean, it's like you almost just want to grab him and just say, dude, you lost. You lost. Get over it. Take this L, take your ass. Your lease at the White House is up and is not up for renewal. Bye.
They're not going to do it. Most of them aren't going to do it because, again, they've been cuckolding for, so long. They're used to that role. Once it became obvious that he wasn't going to win, Mitch McConnell, who always viewed him as a useful idiot, like Putin referred to him. He looked at Trump as a useful idiot. I can use Trump to pass my agendas. But Trump never was really a threat to Mitch McConnell, which is why he was always nice to him until now, because McConnell always kind of held the keys if an impeachment thing came up. If he ever turned on him, then McConnell had real power in the Senate to sway against Trump. So, but the point is, there was nobody to do that. The people that rebuked him, they left. The other people, they were afraid to be on Twitter. Well, I'm like, okay, don't your Twitter work too?
Right.
He tweeted, you tweet back at him. What he's going to ruin my political, that's what they're worried about. He's going to ruin my political career.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if you have no more political aspirations or you plan on retiring, which, so you could tell the ones that retired, they immediately started going in on Trump.
Oh, yeah, they immediately started talking stuff.
And people like Romney, where they can call Romney a rhino, they can say this about Romney, but in Utah, them people love Romney, and that's all that matters.
Yes.
He got home sold up, so it don't matter what these other people think about it.
Yep.
So Romney's been consistent from day one that Trump is a scumbag.
He really has been.
Now, he's voted with Trump on some of the agendas because he's a Republican. But he's the one person that voted for impeachment as a Republican. One.
And he marched with us. How about that?
Yeah, he did that. So that's, he's one of them people you fundamentally believe is generally
a good person.
You're a Republican, but you're generally a good person.
Yeah, but you're generally a good person. Yeah.
And you'd have to feel that same way. This is why when you listen to a lot of Trump supporters and they talk about past presidents and you bring up other Republican presidents like Bush, Jr. and Sr., oh, they were rhinos. They were Republicans in name only. Oh, no. They were the real Republicans. Y'all are something else. Y'all are something else. How do you know? And the reason why they talk about Bush like that is because they'll see pictures of Bush hanging out with Clinton and Obama, smiling. They on a boat fishing together. See, I knew they were all together.
Yeah, exactly.
Or they mad because, remember, I know this is way off topic. Was it John McCain? Was it John McCain's funeral, or was it this Bush Sr.? I think it was Bush Sr.'s funeral. And 4 presidents sitting in
yeah, Bush Sr. And they ain't want him there.
Who was it? Michelle Obama pulled out some candy and shared it with the Bushes and the Clintons, and they ain't passed none to Trump.
him. And I remember at McCain's funeral, McCain's daughter didn't want him there. Like, she came at him.
Exactly.
She came at his neck.
No, I don't think he did, Trump.
He didn't.
I think Melania went.
Yeah,
I don't think Trump himself.
No, himself he didn't, because the daughter was like, no, hell no. Like, she was like, straight up, you're not welcome here. So yeah, and as we're alluding to, people are tired of him, and you said that he won for 3 reasons.
Yep, and 3 reasons only. People don't want to hear this. Black people don't want to hear this because that's my president, but Barack Obama is the number one reason why Trump won, directly and indirectly. Indirectly because, well, we already know there was an undercurrent sentiment of people in this country that had a problem with a president of color.
Oh yeah.
That's it.
Oh yeah.
The same people that bought into the whole birtherism thing. He wasn't born here. Barack Hussein. You know.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I know.
Yeah.
Food stamp president, all
Now,
that
that's
other
the
dumb stuff.
indirect effect of it. But the direct responsibility of Barack Obama was the fact that in post-president interviews, he openly said that they knew and had been watching the whole Russia connection with Flynn, with Manafort, with Papadopoulos, with Trump. And they didn't want to give the appearance of influence in elections, so they basically kept it mum. Okay, fair enough, Barack. I had a stand-up guy. But then 11 days before the election, why then would you allow your FBI director to go on national TV and talk about Hillary Clinton's emails? Because it affected the election.
Yep.
So the same thing that you kept on the rest because you didn't want to give the appearance of you allowed your administration to affect an election. So that's the number one reason. Had the Russian stuff came out, a lot of moderate Republicans initially that gave Trump a chance simply because he was running on a Republican ticket probably wouldn't have. The number two reason why Trump won was because of Hillary Clinton. Let's face it, nobody liked her either.
No, they didn't.
It's just the nature of the beast. And instead of campaigning and trying to at least smooth things over or sway some of those moderate Republicans to vote for you, Hillary, instead you let Alicia Keys and John Legend and
LeBron.
Jay-Z, LeBron and whoever else, and you stayed home, and Trump took his ass to the backwoods of Louisiana where people don't even wear shoes. But he got them to put on a Make America Great Again hat. That was the second reason why Trump won. The third reason was the unintentional Bernie Sanders effect. Bernie had a lot of millennials, had a cult-like following too, to some degree. Although he's the complete opposite of Donald Trump, but he had a following.
Right.
And when he lost to Hillary Clinton, Bernie did the right thing. And I watched Bernie do it. Bernie got up on that stage with Hillary and said, "We cannot let Donald Trump into the White House." He said it. That's not what his supporters heard. His supporters said, "I'm not supporting that bitch. I can't stand that bitch. I'm just not going to vote at all. I'm going to vote for Jill Stein." Or, well, that's the same as not voting, if you're going to vote for Jill Stein. And then now these same millennials, the 4 years that Trump was in there, these same millennials are the ones that's out in the street protesting and wearing Black Lives Matter shirts even though they're not affiliated with it, and are likely Antifa. You could have prevented it if you had voted. You didn't like Hillary Clinton, but Bernie even saw that and tried to tell you the lesser of two evils.
Right,
Evil
exactly.
is evil, but the lesser of two evils is better than the real evil.
Exactly. That's the way I looked at the 2016 election. The lesser of two evils. I was saying, hey, maybe Bill Clinton will be back in the White House. Let me vote for Hillary.
One thing's for certain, two things for sure. No matter how you feel about Hillary Clinton, black, white, or other, no matter how you feel about her, with a shadow of a doubt, there are certain things that just would not be taking place.
Oh, I get. Oh,
Because
absolutely.
She wouldn't be on Twitter, none of that.
No.
Too much of an institutionalist.
She was in the White House 8 years. She know the game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she wouldn't be
She was in
pulling
the White
that.
House longer than that because she was Secretary of State. Hillary has been in politics for like 40 years.
Yep, that's true.
Directly and indirectly. So certain things she just would not have done, and so normalcy, would still be a thing. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm
Absolutely.
saying. And to be honest, she lost, but everything she said since then has come to pass.
Yep.
Everything she said would happen has come to pass.
Yep. Said it would be chaos, and what has it been?
Even Lindsey Graham said that. He said we will. He said if we elect Donald Trump, he will destroy us, and we will deserve it.
Yup. Yup.
So there you go. That's my take on it.
Well, I mean, when I saw you hit me up on Facebook and said you got to do a podcast, and you were like the third or fourth person to say something to me, either on social media or in person, saying you hear all this stuff going on, because I was in Fredericksburg when it started taking place, and I was kind of dealing with a shoddy radio situation, and then like as I was on my way back down to Richmond at around like 3:00, I'm just hearing like, what the hell done going on? And I was like, wow, really? I was like, we starting off 2021 like this? Because, I was planning on doing one today in regards to, the playoff, the wild card rounds. Shout out to the first Heisman Trophy winners in almost 30 years, who played wide receiver. Probably a brief 30 seconds on Trevor Lawrence saying that he's declaring for the draft. Things of.
Now the Jets don't have the pick.
Yeah, right. Exactly. I mean, so, all right. So now I can get to sports. So let's get to it. All right. So, okay. So we can go ahead and start right there with football. The season's over. First of all, I got to give the NFL props for finishing the season, not having to cancel one game, playing every single game that was on the schedule amidst the pandemic. It sucks what's going on with Cleveland right now, but they made it through the regular season. I have no doubt that they'll make it through the playoffs. I don't like the kind of competitive advantage, the thing that you can get if you happen to have a COVID outbreak. But, I mean, it is what it is for this season. I can go over my biggest surprises and biggest disappointments at a later date. I can really get into matchups. And I know you're a Cowboy fan. I know you saw that I was, making y'all mad on social media. And I said this before, I'll say it again. My Denver Broncos had another sucky season. And the fact that John... Huh?
First of all, y'all, see, there you go. Rubbing us all in. Y'all mad. I'm never mad. I get disappointed, but I never get mad. My philosophy is if you ain't hoisting the trophy, then you might as well go 0-16. Because you're not doing yourself any favors with moral victories.
Oh, please. My Broncos ain't had a moral victory since we won the damn Super Bowl. That's the only victory to me that matters. That's the only victory to me that...
We ain't going to talk about the Broncos, because as soon as you said Broncos, the first thing that popped in my mind was Von Miller's Instagram, but we ain't going to go there.
Man, we ain't even get to see him in 2020. Honestly, he might not be back. I mean, it depends on... I mean, honestly, because of how much,
You don't know what I'm talking about, do you?
No, what did he say?
So, and this literally yesterday, literally some female that he was dealing with apparently is pregnant by him, and he's not denying it as his child, because actually she pulled up some posted other texts where he was trying to get her pregnant.
Yeah, you know what? I did see that. Yup, I did, because I got the notification.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And she blamed him about him. He didn't take the diplomatic. Maybe you should have an abortion. So he was real crude with it, type thing. And everybody said the same thing. Okay, you playing it like she trapped you when she posted text. You said that talk about trap. You don't want to pull out this, that, the other. So
yeah, I did. Yeah, I got that notification right as I got a notification of Elway saying that he's gonna look for a new general manager. He'll still be, he'll still, have his position with the team, but he's gonna look for a new general manager, which I'm happy about. But I saw the Von. It was, it was like about 5:45 in the morning when I saw the Von Miller thing. I was just, in my Amazon truck, and I got it, and I was like, I'm still about 50% sleep. I was like, what the hell? And so that's not Von's finest hour. Definitely not. I mean, hey, I guess she's set.
So I'll call it for you, and this is just my pick. We can skip all the semantics of the 6 and 7 seeds and 4. We can skip all that. My Super Bowl picks, since we spend a lot of time on talking about the mess in the Capitol Hill, because you might want to throw a little NBA up in there. Buffalo Bills. No one circles the wagons like the Buffalo Bills.
Oh, you had the old Chris Berman saying.
And right now, I think the combination of Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs, they're the most complete team right now. At least playing like the most complete from special teams, offense and defense. Playing like the most complete team. Kansas City looks extremely vulnerable. Baltimore is vulnerable.
They do. I mean, actually, Baltimore. I think Baltimore's actually peaking right now. But I mean, with them, you have to see it to believe it, because we've waited for them to beat somebody like Kansas City or Pittsburgh with Big Ben. But yeah, I think Kansas City is quite vulnerable. I see it.
And the Buffalo Bills, the combination of Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs, are as cool as the other side of the pillow. Shout out to Stuart Scott.
R.I.P.
All ESPN. So that's my AFC. That's my AFC pick, the Buffalo Bills, and then Aaron Rodgers is going to the Super Bowl this year.
Yep. I would like to see.
He has not dipped. He hasn't dipped.
No, he hasn't.
I've been waiting for it to happen, for him to come back down to earth, but right now, he got the fountain of youth.
This is the I'll show. This is the I'll show you tour for them drafting his supposed successor. I've been saying.
And while they are iffy defensively, they have one component. They got the passing it, but they have that other component, that ball control, that gives their defense enough of a rest where their defense can be just enough for them. Aaron Jones is a beast.
And Jamal Williams.
Right. So that gives them, for that running game, equals clock control. And you can have an average defense with clock control.
And
got to be good for a little while.
And I'm going to be honest, because you just said that, this is why, now, as far as the NFC goes, I would like to have seen the Seattle Seahawks. I mean, I'm not going to say would have, like they've been eliminated, but for some reason this season, Seattle hasn't been able to play consistently well on both sides of the ball at the same time. At the start of the season, the offense was on fire, the defense was awful. And now in the last quarter of the season, the defense has played much better, the offense has been awful. So they haven't, I mean, I think if they could put those two together, they could be dangerous, but Green Bay looks tough, man. I'm damn near ready to say I agree with you as far as the Super Bowl pick. Kansas and AFC, I don't disagree with anything that you said, but I'd have to see Buffalo beat Kansas City. I'd have to see it. I know what you're saying, and you're absolutely right. Right now, Buffalo looks like the most complete team. They can have a little bit better of a running game, but they right now they look like the most complete team. They're on fire. But, a young quarterback, it's a different ball game now. Young quarterback, how is he going to react? Because Indianapolis has weapons. I don't think they'll win, but Indianapolis has weapons, and they have something that could they have a good defense. They have a running back who is Jonathan Taylor has been balling, particularly over the last month of the season when he had 250 yards on Sunday. They can have ball control as well. So if games get tight, I'm just interested to see how Josh Allen will react. I think they'll beat the Colts. I don't think it is a slam dunk blowout. I think Seattle will beat the Rams. I like Tampa over Washington, even though I think that game will be closer than people think because we know what Tom Brady's kryptonite is. I think Baltimore will beat Tennessee. I think they'll be a tough out. Chicago at New Orleans. No, well, that's New Orleans. Fuck all that. That's Chicago tripped up into the playoffs. You know, I want to pick Cleveland to beat the Steelers, but it's like, gosh, they're having everything go against them right now. To me, Cleveland actually has the best remedy to beat Kansas City because they actually have the 2 All-Pro running backs. They have one of the best lines, if not the best line in football. They can do the ball control. Like you said, their defense ain't, like you said with Buffalo. Like you said with Green Bay, their defense ain't great. It's okay, but with that ball control, you can have enough of a rest. That's the team that I actually see having a better shot to beat Kansas City based on stylistic matchups. It's Cleveland. I have to see it with Buffalo to believe it.
Yeah, you might be right. The bottom line with Kansas City is if the score is, the over-under is 45, 46, then you got a chance to beat them. That's it. Combined score over 45, 46 points is under that, you win the game. And they're in trouble.
Well, yeah. Actually, they actually don't do well in shootouts as you might think.
Yeah, but you don't. I've seen too many games with them where at halftime score look reasonable, and all of a sudden it's 48 on the final scoreboard. So they put up 28 points in the second half.
Well, like you said, they have been real iffy. Like, I'm gonna tell you, the one game this season that I was shocked at, I was stunned when they only scored 17 on Atlanta.
Yeah.
At home too, I was stunned.
It's not like that.
Yeah, I was shocked. I really, really was, and it's good to be able to win close games, but I don't see them. Look, if in the playoffs this year, if a team gets a 24-point lead on them like last year, I don't know if they're coming back from that. Especially if it's a team that can run the ball and control the clock.
Yeah. All the tops on that side have shown chinks in the armor. It's just, that's why I picked Buffalo, because they haven't shown a chink. It's the regular season, but they really haven't shown too much of a chink in that armor. And I'm not one of them people that's going to say, well, they're defending Super Bowl champs, so you got to give them the benefit of the doubt. No, if you really maybe playing Roethlisberger or Aaron Rodgers or even Russell Wilson or Tom Brady, then yeah. But I'm not going to give that to KC. I'm not going to give that to Mahomes. They have chinks. They have obvious chinks.
They do. No, they do. I don't disagree. They do. But damn, it's like what their chinks are, but it's like they were they were 14-2, but with Mahomes in there, they were 14-1. He didn't play the last game, but it's like, Jesus Christ, they're so explosive on offense. They can almost make up. They remind me of The Greatest Show on Turf, where they had chinks in their armor, obvious chinks, but how did you stop them? Unless you had unless you had to keep them off the field to really stop them.
Yeah. There are a couple teams out there that have that type of offense that, can have a sustained drive, 10-minute drive.
Yes.
Yes,
and
There's a lot of teams out there that can actually do that. One of the teams that actually is built to be able to beat Kansas City, but they always make mistakes or something, or they try to get into that shootout when they should slow it down, is Baltimore.
Oh, yeah.
Just slow it down. You got the running game. You don't have to try to wing it out.
Yeah, that's mistake number 1 through 100. If Kansas City scores in 3 minutes, hold the ball for the next 10 and score a touchdown, be the same tie score.
You got Ingram, you got Lamar Jackson. You can get a first down whenever you need it.
Whenever you need it.
Slow walk it. Just slow walk it.
And whenever you need it.
I would milk the play clock all the way down to 1 every play.
Every play. Hell yeah. Every play. Please. If I had the Ravens offense, Patrick Mahomes would be on the field for maybe 6 or 7 minutes in a half. I mean, that's why do you think that's why New England gives him such a hard time? Because Belichick, every time he plays him, he for the first half of the game, you barely see Patrick Mahomes on the field. Even the game they played this season when Cam had COVID. I mean, you barely saw Patrick Mahomes, and then eventually Mahomes puts up points that New England, like at least for the last 2 seasons, just haven't been able to match. But the game plan that Belichick has is the perfect one. And Baltimore actually has the personnel to implicate it, to make it work. It's just can they? I mean, the
Kansas City had a chance to beat them, but you're right. That they short passing game, they abandoned their down the field game. When Brady was still there, and they played him in that playoff game, and Deion Lewis and running backs became the wide receiver.
Yep.
Dump off pass.
Yep.
Tight end for 5 yards.
Yep.
That's it.
Yep.
Yeah, and they were walking to the line of scrimmage.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
So, I know you said you wanted to talk some NBA. What it is, what it do.
Okay, so I had a friend who's a Lakers fan, and he always called me with some LeBron-related nonsensical stuff, and I'm like, dude, LeBron is the best player in this era. If you remove him from that era and put him in a different era, then you're gonna get a different response from me. You're gonna get a different response. It's a different era. Game was played different. People he would have played against is different. You wouldn't have wanted to see LeBron. Yeah, LeBron could guard 1 through 4. Put him on Charles Barkley then. Put him on Charles Barkley, and then he'll see how that shoulder feel.
Or Karl Malone.
See how that elbow feels.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then he'll rethink being in that era, and that'll be that. But so he said he asked me just like, so who you think could beat the Lakers? I said there's a team, and they had a catastrophic injury. But based on the composition of their roster and the style of basketball that they were playing and still do play even with this catastrophic injury, but this one dude being out kind of changes that dynamic a little bit, so I don't think they're that team in the East anymore. But the New Jersey Nets.
Oh, Brooklyn?
Yep, I mean, yeah, they were Brooklyn. They still in New Jersey, but the Brooklyn Nets.
Oh, you talking about because of Spencer Dinwiddie's injury?
Spencer Dinwiddie, bro. Spencer Dinwiddie with Kyrie, man, them dudes was nasty.
Well, you still
They
got
had so many ball handlers. I've never seen a team with that many ball handlers on the floor function so well.
Well, you still have LeVert. Dinwiddie's a big loss, yes, but I still could see Brooklyn beating the Lakers because you still have KD, Kyrie, LeVert, Joe Harris. They still Jeff. You got guys like Jeff Green, DeAndre Jordan, and Jared Allen. Now look, mind you, it's early, and the Nets are actually struggling right now. But when you have, when this Kyrie and KD have to actually get used to playing with each other. The guys who were there last year have to get used to playing with KD and really Kyrie, because Kyrie didn't play much last year. Steve Nash has to get used to, making adjustments and being on a sideline coach rather than an in-game coach. And I think Brooklyn will be just fine. They are my favorite to come out of the East, definitely. I don't disagree with you on Brooklyn, but I actually still think if you put the Clippers up against the Lakers in a 7-game series, I still think the Clippers would beat them.
What I noticed about the Lakers so far this season, and it was kind of this way last season, but it's still the same. When they play teams that have multiple ball handlers, guys that create their own shot, they're vulnerable. AD and LeBron are only 2 guys. Down roster, they added some names. I don't know if they got better though. They replaced pieces, but I don't know if they got significantly better.
Who, the Lakers?
Yeah.
I think they're gonna miss Dwight Howard and JaVale McGee. I mean, Schroeder's cool. You know, Schroeder's more of a scoring point guard. I think they're gonna miss Rondo. I like Montrezl Harrell. I do. I like Trez. You know, he's a bucket of energy coming off of the bench. But I can't sit here and legitimately say that the Lakers got better from last year. A lot of people think so. I can't necessarily say that I see it, because Marc Gasol right now just looks like a statue out there. He looks like an old statue out there. Like I said, Schroeder's more of a shoot first point guard. You know, how's that gonna fare in the playoffs? I like adding Trez the best. But like I said, the energy that JaVale and Dwight brought from the center position to really take a load off of Anthony Davis, particularly on the defensive side of the ball, has me worried just a bit.
Yeah. I watched them against the Grizzlies, and the Grizzlies should have won that game.
Yeah, they should have.
But they should have, they should have won the game.
They absolutely should have. No denying it, no disagreement.
Yeah.
So, but
that's my general NBA take. My Billy Donovan got my Bulls playing surprisingly well. That's all I can hope for. You got them playing. They should be 5-3. They had BS call against Golden State, but they should be 5-3.
I mean, look at this. The Bulls playing well. The Knicks playing well. It's like the 90s all over again.
Only problem with the Knicks playing well is how long is it going to be before the tire trade come out? Because, Thibodeau going to run them dudes 48
Oh, yeah, I was going to say,
night.
no, Thibodeau will work you to death.
After every game. We got practice after the game.
Well, that's why I forget Thibodeau was a Bulls coach. He was the last decent coach they had. Well, he better hope for youthful energy, because I know
Thibodeau cost them a championship, bro. He cost them a championship.
You talking about 2011 or 2015?
I'm talking about playoff first round series against the Sixers, up 30. Why do you have Derrick Rose?
Oh yeah.
In the game. Period.
Oh
Up
man.
30 in the fourth quarter. Why?
Yeah, that Derrick Rose's career was never right since then.
That changed the trajectory of a lot of careers, because I ain't gonna say it's a guarantee, but the trajectory they were heading on, it wouldn't have been easy for Miami. It wasn't easy for them anyway. But
I actually think in 2015, when they had Pau Gasol and Jimmy Butler had turned into an all-star, I actually thought that they were going to beat Miami that year. The year that Derrick Rose made the bank shot buzzer beater in Game 3. Yeah. And then LeBron had the corner buzzer beater, the next game. I actually thought Chicago was going to win that series. I thought they were a better team.
They were. The what-ifs of sports is so crazy, because
I said Miami was Cleveland they were playing. I'm sorry.
Kobe didn't make his demand.
Well, I have a whole... Well,
didn't make his demand because Kobe was supposed to be traded to Chicago. The deal literally was done. But the Bulls, Kobe, not the Bulls, not the Lakers, Kobe interjected and said, I don't want this trade if Lou Deng is part of the trade. I want to play with Lou Deng.
Well,
and the Bulls said no. Bulls offered him a first round and a second round pick. Lakers said no. So Kobe said, forget it. If Lou got to be part of the deal, then I don't want to get traded there.
Well, my ultimate what if with the Lakers is, at least during the... No, not even that. Actually, not even that. I actually wasn't really in favor of that trade off its surface, because at that point in time, what made us, what gave us the advantage over everybody else was our size. So you're going to trade... I understand that Chris Paul at that point was probably the best point guard in basketball, but you're going to trade up your advantage, Gasol and Odom? I never liked it. I never liked it. I didn't like the fact that the NBA blocked it, that David Stern blocked it, because I'm like, hey, wait a minute now. Come on. That's business between two teams. But I understood that New Orleans didn't have an owner and they were ran by the NBA. And I didn't, that was a move I never liked from David Stern. But like I said, I never liked the trade on the surface. For me, the biggest what if was the next year when we got Dwight Howard and what was left of Steve Nash. when we got off to that bad start, this ruined the Lakers season. I think they would have won another title. This ruined Kobe. This ruined the last part of Kobe's career because Jim Buss, who was in his personal feelings, did not bring Phil Jackson in, who was going to take the job, and instead brought in Mike D'Antoni, who ran Kobe ragged just so they could make the playoffs. And Kobe was in year 17. This is why when I hear these sports talk shows was saying last year, you've never seen a guy in his 17th year play as good as LeBron. I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? Kobe in year 17 averaged 28, and they damn near averaged a double-double.
Without the load management.
Without the load management. And he could, if he load managed, the Lakers ain't making the playoffs. And I was like, this is year 17, and Kobe was the best player in the world because he had to be. Because Mike D'Antoni came in there coaching them like he still had his 04 and 05 Phoenix Suns, and Steve Nash was shot. The team was perfectly tailor-made for Phil Jackson because even though Dwight Howard still had the bad back, you could run the offense inside and out. You still have your Twin Towers with Dwight Howard and Pau Gasol. You still have your all-world defender and Ron Artest. And, of course, you still have Kobe. You could have worked in spite of Steve Nash. And that was tailor-made for the triangle offense. And Jim Buss ruined that, and he ruined the last 3 years of Kobe's career because, for one, you bring in Phil Jackson. Phil Jackson's not going to run Kobe to death like that. And I believe Kobe never has that injury, and I believe he would have retired as the all-time leading scorer in NBA history. Because think about it. He barely played the last 3 years of his career, and he finished third? You know?
Yeah, possibly, yeah.
I get emotional when I talk about that, because I just remember being so mad when in the wee hours of the night, here comes a breaking news that Mike D'Antoni was hired as a Lakers coach. Are you drunk? But Phil Jackson was packing up, getting ready to head to LA to accept the job. But Jim Buss backdoored him at the midnight hour. I was like, oh, ooh. And his daddy was too sick to override it. Jerry Buss hadn't passed yet, but he was too sick to override it. I was like, ooh, you son of a bitch. I'm serious. I was mad. I was. But anyway, let me get ready to get out of here, bro. I'm going to send you this link. This has been fun. Don't worry. We'll get into...
They've actually been reconvened for the past half hour. We've been watching them in silence. McConnell took the floor and Schumer took the floor, and Pence actually spoke first. I listened to a little bit while we were talking, and Pence didn't sound very Trump-like. He sounds actually the opposite. But he stopped short of, mentioning Trump's name. But he basically said that the foolishness got to stop.
What does? Because they're not...
If you get caught doing foolishness, you will be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law.
I mean, his Proud Boys or whatever the hell his cult following is, they're not doing anybody a service by acting like a bunch of jackasses.
You know what's funny about the Proud Boys and their leader and what the orange Kool-Aid drinkers think in terms of that? When you mention the Proud Boys being racist, they say, but their leader is black. First of all, that dude ain't black. But it's funny that dude, y'all want to consider that dude black, but y'all don't consider Kamala Harris black.
Which dude black?
The leader of the Proud Boys.
Oh, yeah. No, please. I consider Kamala Harris
he's
black.
And even if he was, let's refer to Steven. You know, Steven. Man, so who is this nigga on his nag?
Who is that nigga on that nag?
Exactly.
Right. Oh, Steven.
So that don't mean nothing. That means nothing to his Candace Owens, Ben Carson, all of them people like that. It means nothing to me. They skin complexion. They don't have no connection with us.
Exactly.
That's it.
I look at them like Candace Owens.
Pardon shot. If I'm Joseph Biden, Robinette Biden, there's a person out there that has a job, but you need to give her a better job. I'm finding a place somewhere for Stacey Abrams in my administration, because she single-handedly is responsible for what happened in Georgia. Single-handedly. It started with her getting screwed. She should be governor. But the governor screwed her. How are you going to be able to decide what votes are counted in your own damn election? That's that Republican suppression scheme. That's how she was screwed out of being governor of Georgia 4 years ago. So she should be governor. And ever since then, she made it her mission. I'm taking them out. Literally, that's all she focused on these past 4 years. Taking, flipping Georgia, turning Georgia blue, taking the Republicanism out of Georgia, so they can't suppress votes. Well, what's the end game, and what was the result? Georgia is now blue.
That's right.
It still has a Republican governor, but other than that, it's blue.
That's
right. That's a rough task to do. So my thing is, you need to hire her in your administration and send her ass into Texas. And turn that too.
Right. Oh my goodness. Well, brother, I'm going to get at you. Hey man, look, the next time, hopefully this COVID stuff will be died down. So the next time Mike Tyson fights, you can come over here and watch it. So
next time Mike Tyson fight. I wouldn't know who Mike Tyson is. I know he ain't fighting Holyfield. I don't know who he's fighting.
Well, Holyfield say he want $25 million get in the ring.
Yeah, he's not fighting. Mike Tyson is not fighting Holyfield. Holyfield, Mike is a different dude. So Holyfield coming with the whole "I beat you again" and blah, that don't mean nothing to Mike. You can tell on his face expression, that type of stuff don't even irritate him no more.
That's because he high. Because Mike getting blazed and he's happy.
Yeah, but he's making money off that herb too, though.
You damn right he is. They say he smoked.
Keep him calm and keep his teeth off of people's ears.
They say he. Wow. They said he smoked a blunt before the Roy Jones fight.
I believe it.
I said that's why Roy Jones lived through that fight, because he was wide open to be had. And Mike Tyson still lit his rib cage up.
Mike can't entertain that. The only person I believe that Mike would entertain a fight with right about now, I don't even think he might entertain going a little exhibition thing with Lennox Lewis. I doubt it.
I'm gonna be honest with you.
He definitely would entertain Deontay Wilder.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I actually think it wouldn't surprise me if he entertained fighting Shannon Briggs in New York, because they're both from the same streets. They never fought when they were in their prime, but both of them were former champions. Shannon Briggs was was after Mike. I mean, they fought around the same time period, but Mike's about 6 or 7 years older than him. I mean, for a New York money grab, that wouldn't surprise me. I don't know. See, I think if he got in the ring with Deontay Wilder, I think Deontay Wilder would get too serious, and then Mike would get serious.
That's what we want, eh?
Yeah, well, I mean, if it's an exhibition, quote unquote.
If we're not serious, then we ain't gonna get no resolution to that trash that Deontay Wilder said out his mouth.
Well, that's true. Well, I would want to see it.
Mike could have. We don't want to talk about what Mike could have did, so we want to see Mike do it to him.
Well, yeah, I would want to see an unhigh Mike fight. If Mike fought Deontay Wilder, I would just beg, please don't smoke a blunt. Come in there mad. We're coming there angry. And for at least 2 or 3 good rounds, Deontay Wilder would have his hands full.
Hey, because everybody that watched the Roy Jones, I mean, okay, that was sufficient to say Mike could have. Because people saw the effect of the hits that Mike hit him with. Those were non-lethal blows,
Oh, yeah.
But still, his pancreas was aching after the
Yeah,
fight.
you clearly saw that if those two had a fought, even when Roy was considered pound for pound the best, if they had a fought in 2003, Mike would have whooped his ass. And I think you saw it.
Right. Wilder you gotta let the real Mike loose and let him go ahead and hit him, because Fury was hitting him, and we saw Fury hitting him, but Deontay Wilder, he's spinning. Oh no, he ain't touching me. No. Plus he had lead in his gloves. He was punching me with steel. He had steel plates in his gloves.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Whatever, man. Whatever. You just need to see him stretched out on the canvas with Mike, turning his back, walking back to the corner. That way it's undisputed. You got knocked the F out.
All right, well, hey, till the next time, dude, take it easy, take it easy, take it easy. Enjoy these playoffs.
You too, man.
All right, bro. I knew this was going to be a long conversation because I definitely wanted his input in regards to what happened, that craziness on Capitol Hill, and definitely he did not let me down. He never does. But before we get out of here, I will say this. Before I say where the buzzer, there was something that I wanted to address, and I feel I have to address this. It's about the New York Giants coach, Joe Judge. Now, for all of you who already know, the New York Giants needed to beat the Dallas Cowboys and then have the Philadelphia Eagles beat Washington, a.k.a. the D.C. Dickage. And by the way, I'm not going to call them that anymore because they won the division. How the team that has no name wins the division, but I will call them the Washington football team for the rest of the season, which is probably just a couple more days. Anyway, back to my point. He needed Philly to beat Washington so they could win the division because they held the tiebreaker over Washington. Now, as has been well known, Jalen Hurts was benched in the third quarter. They were trailing by 4 to bring in Nate Sudfeld, and that was met with outrage. But honestly, only thing I'd have to say to Joe Judge is shut the hell up. Are you serious? He's going to get on there on national television with his press conference, be like, well, I never disrespect the game like that. First of all, let me tell you something. If you lucky enough in your career to get to a point where you're in the last week of the regular season and you've locked whatever you can lock up, but you are definitely in the playoffs and you have the option of sitting your starters, you're going to do it. So don't hit me with that bullshit of, well, we're never gonna rest our starters as long as I'm coach of New York Giants. Man, listen to this.
We need to learn from the lessons we have from this year and carry them forward. That's the experience you truly gain. But that's really the most important thing right there. I mean, our opportunities. Look, that being said, I mean, obviously players have asked me throughout the day, and I just can't express that. I think one thing to keep in mind with this season is we had a lot of people opt in to this season. Okay. We had a lot of people opt in. All right. Coaches, players, that includes family members as well. All right. So to look at a group of grown men who I asked to give me effort on a day in, day out basis and to empty the tank, and then I can look them in the eye and assure them that I'm always going to do everything I can to put them at a competitive advantage and play them in a position of strength. To me, you don't ever want to disrespect those players and their effort and disrespect the game. The sacrifices that they made to come into work every day and test before coming in, to sit in meetings spaced out, to wear masks, to have shields over those masks, to go through extensive protocols, to travel in unconventional ways, to get text messages at 6:30 in the morning telling them practice is going to be canceled. We have to do a virtual day. Okay, to tell them, please don't have your family over for Thanksgiving. Please avoid Christmas gatherings. We know it's your wife's birthday. Let's make sure we put that one off to the off season. There's a number of sacrifices been made by all the players and coaches in this league. There's a number of sacrifices that come along as well with the family members and the people connected with them. To disrespect the effort that everyone put forward to make this season a success for the National Football League, to disrespect the game by going out there and not competing for 60 minutes and doing everything you can to help those players win, we will never do that as long as I'm the head coach of the New York Giants.
Oh, shut up. Shut up. I mean, he did acknowledge earlier in that press conference that he should never leave, that his team should never leave their playoff fate in the hands of another team. And being that he acknowledged that first, the rest of that damn drivel should have never came out of his mouth. Okay, this won't ever happen as long as I'm the coach of the New York Giants. I tell you what, your ass keeps going 6-10, you ain't gonna be coach of the New York Giants, but for so long. So why don't you worry about that? Okay, the Philadelphia Eagles owed you nothing. Would I have taken Jalen Hurts out? No. But he's saying people disrespected the game. Okay, so Andy Reid disrespected the game of football by sitting Patrick Mahomes on Sunday against the Chargers. Or better yet, did the Sean McDermott disrespect the game of football by taking Josh Allen out in the second half of their game against the Dolphins? Or even better, which I'm about to make a point of, Mike Tomlin, he disrespected the game by sitting Ben Roethlisberger in the game against the Cleveland Browns. Now, let me ask you something. Mike Tomlin sat Ben Roethlisberger. The Cleveland Browns won. They're in the playoffs. Congratulations. Now, what if Mike Tomlin had decided to play Ben Roethlisberger and the Steelers beat the Browns? Guess who that would have benefited the most? The Miami Dolphins, who lost to Buffalo. But have you heard Brian Flores or anybody else in the Dolphins organizations coming and taking shots at Mike Tomlin or the Pittsburgh Steelers? No. So the New York Giants and Joe Judge need to shut the hell up and do better, coach better, play better next year. That's all I got to say about that. Where the buzzer. Okay, this is a long episode, first episode of 2021, but I'm going to tell you, everybody, be safe, especially you if you out there in that D.C. area. Hey, it's the beginning of hopefully a much better year than 2020. It's your boy, Brandon Brevon Towns. This has been another episode of Sports Plus Life. I'm out this B.I. I'll get at y'all later. Peace.